Have you ever felt like you completely undercharged for the videos that you did for a client? Or have you ever worried about giving your client a price because you felt like you're way too expensive? If one of these cases is true, then hear me out, because in this video I'm going to share with you the pricing secrets that are not only going to make your client say yes to work with you, but also make you way more profitable. So let's get right into it. So before we even talk about changing your prices, we need to understand your cost of doing business. Now, there are multiple cost factors that you need to think about. One of them is an example, equipment, camera, lighting gear, audio, laptop, all these different things that you need. Then you have software and subscriptions. I mean, think about all your editing software. Maybe you have an Adobe Suite, or you have DaVinci Resolve, or any other editing platform of your choice. Then you have labor, the time you spend on pre-production, production, post-production, revision rounds, and even freelancers that you hire for the shoot. And then obviously for on-location shoots, you have travel expenses and food expenses. And then as the last expense, you have overhead like rent, utilities, insurance, and other business-related expenses. So if you factor in all these expenses and add a healthy profit margin, like an example, 30% or more, then you have your minimum price. You will never work with a client who has less than that amount. This is the new standard right now. Now, besides factoring in the expenses, it's also super important to analyze your market and pick the right niche. Because at the end of the day, an example, a dentist makes multiple thousands of dollars profit per patient, while a restaurant makes very, very little to almost no profit per client. So simply just find the good markets that have very high profit margins, and you will never ever feel bad about charging a lot of money. All right, but now let's actually talk about choosing the right pricing model. There are very different pricing models out there, and the most common one is charging based on an hourly or daily rate. Now, this does not make sense at all. Even though it is the most common thing amongst videographers, it does not make sense. Because let's say today an editing job takes you a day to complete, but in a year you have shortcuts, you're way more experienced, you are used to using templates, etc. And now it takes you half a day. And now suddenly you get paid half of what you did a year ago? Well, that doesn't make any sense. You get punished for efficiency. And that's why hourly rates don't make sense. Now, obviously you could argue, well, I can just increase my hourly rate in a year. Yes, you could, but once you reach a certain threshold, in example, you're more expensive than a lawyer or a doctor, well, people will not be willing to pay you that money anymore. So you have to switch to a different pricing model. The next pricing model that makes sense, especially for retainers, is a flat rate for a certain service or a certain package. I mean, nothing to say with that, just you have one service that you provide on a regular basis. An example, you provide 10 videos a month, 15 reels a month, whatever, and you charge a certain amount for that. The third way of pricing is project-based pricing. Now, bear in mind, this makes sense especially for experienced videographers, because if you miscalculate, you're gonna get wrecked, because you can't charge the client more because you set one final price in the beginning. But now obviously, if you're way more efficient and you don't have as much cost as you initially thought, you're gonna have more profit. So if you're experienced and you know what kind of costs you typically occur during your projects, you can do project-based pricing. But there is one other pricing model that is way better. It will make you a lot of money, and therefore also makes your videos better, because it forces you to deliver value to the clients. And as the name says, the model is value-based pricing. Now, this pricing model is literally only for experts or people who have been in the Video Business Academy program, because if you're not, you will not understand it. Because most people think value-based means you charge the client for a certain amount of revenue that you generate. This is one way of doing it, but then people are also willing to pay for value when it comes to you saving them time, an example, or you generating applications for an open position, or you avoiding a negative outcome for them. An example, if they work with you and you're way more expensive than another videographer, but they know that if they work with you, they're actually going to get the result, and with the other videographer, they're not sure, they avoid a negative outcome, and they're willing to pay for that value that is created there. There are multiple ways how you can do value-based pricing, but I do not recommend it unless you're an expert or you've gone through the Video Business Academy coaching program. And speaking of that, the Video Business Academy coaching program, or so-called VBA, is a program that helps currently over 300 videographers worldwide grow their business and add an additional $10,000 per month within 60 to 90 days. And we have a 100% success guarantee for that. So if you're interested and you want to learn how it works, I recorded a free video training for you. Just go watch that right now. It's linked right next to me. Literally just click it and we'll see each other there. See ya.